I guess this is a sort of a story. You know, I can't say it out loud on YouTube, I think. I don't know, but, you know, we talk about mental health issues here and everything. Like, I'm trying to be pretty open about them, open about me, myself, and how I think, like, of ending it, you know, opting out. And that almost happened once. And I just gotta, like, talked about when I was just, I remember almost nothing about my childhood, but I remember vaguely I was like, at this psychiatrist. They studied me and they asked me a lot of questions. It was over a longer period of time. And that was, my mother told me later, that was because I, as a little child, talked about death and that I wanted to die. And they needed to check if I was serious, if I understood what death meant and understood what life meant. And I told you this before, as this was in the 90s, right? So I have ADHD and bipolar. This was the 90s. They didn't know enough yet, so I didn't get those diagnoses, which I should have. If I got those diagnoses, I would do much better in school. And again, my mother said this later, that they concluded with that my mother and my father has always been, I can't remember them being married. So they were divorced, and the psychiatrist's conclusion was that I should stay with my father, away from my siblings and everything. And because I needed calm, I was very hyperactive and very angry and a troubled child, you could say. But also the conclusion was that apparently I am very highly intelligent. And I've talked about this before. I don't feel like I am. And several of you have seen how stupid my videos can be. So, but the thing for me is that I kind of get, maybe because when I was younger, I felt like I was more mature than my peers in many ways. More mature than my friends when I was a kid. And also, I still do feel very alone with people. That's why I have just a few friends, and that's okay with me, having just a few friends. Few friends I trust, but hanging around with friends, I hate it. I hate hanging around with people. I feel so alone. And that was also when I was a kid. I was the one child, I felt like the one child in the whole wide world who got calls all the time from friends. And I just said to my parents, please, can you just lie? I don't want to hang out with them. I just wanted to be alone. And I did feel that I had some sort of restlessness or impatience with my friends in many ways. Maybe that was part of it, I don't know. But I still do. When I am with several people, friends, I always have a drink. If there are gatherings like watching films, anything, without alcohol, I can't stand it. I feel so out of place, and so I just want to be alone. I just want to go home. So that's me. And there are now that I'm older and I understand myself more, I have just a couple of friends and that's enough. But before I understood that, I had a lot of friends, but I always felt alone around them. And I felt there was something wrong with me, that, you know, in Oslo 10 years ago, 15 years ago now, we had this apartment. Me and two other guys lived there, and those two guys were very social. So their friends came out, in and out all the time. Have you seen the film Mother? Darren Aronofsky. It's not a great film per se, but it really that movie feels that was how I felt in Oslo when people came in and out. And I thought there was something wrong with me, because I always felt alone and always felt misplaced. But you understand yourself more. And now I do feel the same feelings, but I know myself more. So, I don't go to gatherings with a lot of people or friends hanging around with them. So, yeah, and also the thought that the reason I was sent to these specialists was I talked about death and at an early stage, and I think the maturity I'm talking about is a lot of it was like I thought about the bigger questions in life, existence. I think I had a certain grasp of what existence was quite early, or at least a questioned existence. And for me, what happens after we die, it's nothing, absolutely nothing. It's like just before we were born. And I tend to say to people, close your eyes and try to see nothing. Try to what is nothing? And often the answer is black, void, a black void, sometimes white, a void. But then I see, but you perceive it as a void. You can put a word on it. You see a black void, so you perceive the void, which means that you exist. I think, therefore I am. It's impossible for us humans to not think. Therefore, we have made up all these things that comes after life, heaven, hell, whatever. And I've been surprised by this. There's a lot of people who are afraid, have anxiety. My ex-girlfriend did anxiety of the thought of not existing. For me, I'll welcome it. I welcome it. Not existing is something So there's a lot of life is up and down. There's a lot of good things in life. There's a lot of bad things in life. If you don't live anymore, you don't have anything. There's nothing. There's nothing good, nothing bad. There's nothing. But the thing I can be a bit afraid of is, or not afraid of, think about is how I die, right? A car crash or awful illness, something like that. So when I think about maybe opting out, taking my life, it's very much in a practical way. It's like, it can happen, I'm not gonna lie. At 36, it's a possibility it will happen because I think about it. Yeah, again, in a pragmatic, logic way, but I think about it. I'm not afraid of what comes after, and if I do it myself, it's in my control. I don't, it's better that than die in a car accident. But the one time I actually almost did it. I did the whole news, and in my father's house where I live now, I did no news, and I sat in that. So I had the news right in front of me, and I was drunk, and I was out with friends at a bar, and something happened. I don't know, but I felt so extremely alone, and that made me so extremely sad. So I thought, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. And I knew where the rope was. I knew where everything was because I thought about it many times before. But this time I almost did. So I stood there with the news, and I almost did it, but then I just stopped, and I just punched a hole in the closet thing, wardrobe, closet, whatever you call it. It's the hole is still there. I punched a hole in it, and I opened a new beer from the refrigerator, and I watched a debate with Matt Dillahunty and Jordan Peterson. And I just had to, so I started calming down. Like, okay, I have a cold one. I'm watching a debate where Jordan Peterson is ridiculed. That's nice. So you could say in a fun way that Jordan Peterson sort of saved my life by being a complete moron. Have you seen that debate, by the way? See that debate? That's, oh. But anyway, yeah, that's how I see it, and that's. But I'm not gonna do it. if you are there, seek help. Seek help first and foremost. You are not alone. I am here. You are not alone. As long as I'm here, you know you're not alone. All right? There's my brother. Bye. Bye, bye, bye. Take care.
All right.